Computer engineering covers a range of intertwined professions, including hardware engineering, software engineering, and network engineering. Computer engineers may choose amongst various degrees to form the exact set of skills they wish to perfect. Computer engineers go on to work in a variety of organizations, including software developers, computer system design firms, electronics manufacturers, universities, and startups. Let's take a deep dive into the three different disciplines. Software engineers deal with computer programming, smartphone applications, and software development in general. Hardware engineers design and maintain physical products. And network engineers design and maintain systems and networks. Did you know that computer engineering has roots in electrical engineering, mathematics, and linguistics? Let's take a deep dive and hear from two professionals on their journeys to become software engineers.
Hi everyone at Calculated Genius. My name is Jimena Cortez and I currently work as a software test engineer for a company that does risk vulnerability management. It's called Kenna Security. I did go to school for computer science, but I was not introduced to computer science in college. It was in high school. One of my teachers had a lot of us play a game called Code Combat, and in that game we were writing practically English, but we were learning coding skills. In that game, we made a hero go from one point to another by writing the code. In college, I failed my first coding class. At the time, I thought this is it. Computer science is not for me. However, I retook the course. I changed my studying habits. I changed how I was approaching the topic, and I was able to learn and get an A. Fast forward 4 years, I graduated with my degree in computer science, and when I was looking for a job, I did have internships, but they were not technical internships, meaning that I didn't write code that would go into production. Yeah. So it was a little hard to find my first job. However, I had many mentors and sponsors that helped me look over my resume when I was applying to jobs. One of the companies that I applied to had two roles. One of them was a software engineer, and the second was a software test engineer. I applied to both, and I said, whichever I get, good to go. I ended up feeling more interest towards towards the software test engineer, because in that one of the description things said curiosity to break code and make sure that it works before it hits production. So I eventually got that role. When I started working, they gave us 6 to 8 weeks to get accustomed to the coding language. In school, I learned Java, and then the work required Ruby. I think that having gone for a computer science degree helped me get used to Ruby a lot faster than what it would have taken me if I didn't have the computer science concepts that I learned during school. Finding my first job was pretty hard, but I think that first job kind of broke my shell into what being a software test engineer really is, because it comes with a lot. We are the ones that test everything before it hits production. So a software engineer writes the code that's going to make things work, and we are the ones to test and make sure it actually does, right? So any code that is written needs to be approved by a software test engineer. I think that's probably my favorite part, because I get to learn about different things that are hitting production before the user does. So a lot of it entitles into going into the website and making sure that what the software engineer is actually writing actually works. and then it is my job to check it actually does. And once I check it actually does manually, I have to write a test case scenario and automate it, so we have a test coverage. We have to write the code to make sure that every time we push something new, it doesn't break that scenario. I find it super fun and super interesting because we get to touch a lot of it, from a lot of the concepts in the code base. What's next for me in the next 5 years? I don't know. I want to stay technical. I want to continue growing my technical skills. Um, I probably think I think that I want to become a white hat hacker eventually. Um, do a lot of what I do already to make sure that our application is still up and running, and that there's not a lot of vulnerabilities, or that if there is, find a solution to fix that. Advice I would give teenagers right now is be curious. Be curious to learn new things. That willingness to learn and curiosity, a lot of the companies look for that, because you can't teach someone a lot of things, but if they don't have the willingness to actually learn it, it doesn't really go far, right? So if you have that willingness to learn and actually learn the things, you will get pretty far. If you guys have questions or are interested in anything that I mentioned, whether it is Code Combat, being a software test engineer, or a white hat hacker, please let me know. If there's anything I could help you with, please reach out. I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Latanya Judkins, and I am a software engineer. I've always been good at math and basic computer software. I could have never imagined the possibilities that I can do with technology. I actually went to school for accounting. I was working in logistics and I liked my job, but for some reasons I became unhappy working there. I wanted to do something more exciting. I decided to go into an internship program with a nonprofit organization called IC Stars, where their focus is creating leaders in business and technology. During my internship, I met a lot of people. One of the most motivating things that I experienced was the women who were advocating for women in technology and other engineering that were male dominated. It was an empowering experience that boosted my confidence and eased my fear of failing. Today, I am a software engineer at Stats Perform. I started there with an apprenticeship contracted for 3 months. I was employed to build a front-end web application to showcase the API, which is an application programming interface. A few weeks before my apprenticeship was over, I was offered a permanent position as a software engineer. So now I work on back-end development, infrastructure, database, and cloud computing. So yes, I am happy, but I cannot sit here and act like it was easy. I definitely had to prepare myself for the challenges. I had to do a lot more learning than I did in school and at IC Stars. I had to keep my focus on my goals. So I would go study my work after work so that I could be more familiar with our projects that we were working on, and so that I can be able to keep up with the other engineers. One of the most astonishing engineers that I met was Kimberly Moore. She came as a tea guest when I was an intern at IC Stars. She sat at the table with myself and about 11 other interns, and she told us her story. She also shared her passion and her aspirations with us. Her first liking was music, and then her ambition led her to excel in electrical engineering. She is the founder of KDM Engineering. I see her as an essential role model for living your dreams. So I would encourage anyone with a dream to follow your dreams, to be yourself and embrace your passion for engineering and do something with it. As you continue your journey, I want you to know that you are not alone. There are so many people in this network that are advocating for you and your success.